Imagine that. If you just simply know how to say hi or hello in Bahasa, you would be able to say hi to more than 200 million people. And I think you have heard about Bali. Bali is one part of Indonesia, and Indonesia also have 17,508 islands. So it means that if you go to Indonesia and travel Indonesia and go to Bali, you would be able to enjoy your vacation much more because now you can speak the local language, right? So yeah, so those are some interesting facts about Bahasa, and now let's get started. In this lesson, you will first of all learn about formal and informal Bahasa. We will tell you what is formal Bahasa and what is informal Bahasa. And after that, we will learn some very basic grammar, and then we will learn some vocabulary, and also we will learn some sample sentences and create your very first sentences in Bahasa, so you can practice your Bahasa right away. Okay, so as I mentioned previously, let's start by explaining and telling you what is the difference between formal and informal Bahasa. So basically there are two types of Bahasa, formal and informal Bahasa. Formal Bahasa are Bahasa that is used for formal occasions. For example, business meeting, lecture, if you go to university in Indonesia or something like that, or if you meet a person for the very first time, you will usually need formal Bahasa, and you would usually use formal Bahasa. And then number two, we have informal Bahasa. This is a form of Bahasa that is usually used for like close friends or your family members or people or persons that you already know for a long time. And in these lessons and some future lessons, you will be introduced with formal Bahasa first, because you cannot go wrong usually with formal Bahasa, and usually you will use your Bahasa with people that you just know, right, to introduce yourself and stuff like that. And therefore it is much better if you know formal Bahasa first. But of course, in the future, you will learn informal Bahasa and talk more casually. So now let's just start this lesson by learning some grammar. As you know, grammar is the most important thing, very basic. It is important for you to understand very basic grammar of any language that you are learning. And today we will be learning subject pronouns. Okay, the subject pronoun of Bahasa, it is quite simple. Like number one is, how do you say I? I is saya. Okay, I is saya. So it is not very complicated. So saya, I. And then how do you say you? You is kamu. So ka and mu. So you have kamu. And then how do you say they? They is mereka. Okay, try to always say it after me. Okay, repeat after me so that you also learn how to say the word correctly. So again, how do you say they? They is mereka. Mereka. Now next, how do you say kami? Sorry, how do you say we? How do you say we? We is kami. Kami. Okay, how do you say she or he? Now this is something interesting, because in Bahasa, there is no she and there is no he. You just simply say the same word, which is dia. Again, dia. Okay, and then how do you say it or that? It is itu. Again, itu. So yeah, so those are the most basic grammar that you will learn today, and those are the subject pronouns in Bahasa. So now let's try to quiz yourself. So try not to look to the video if you are watching this on YouTube, or just simply test yourself. Okay, I will say the English subject pronouns and try to answer the question using the Bahasa version. Number one, how do you say I? 1, 2, 3. Saya. Saya. How do you say they? Mereka. Mereka. How do you say she or he? 1, 2, 3. It's dia. Good. So try to repeat that over and over again until you master the subject pronouns in Bahasa. Okay? So yeah, after we have now learned about some grammar, now it's time for us to learn a little bit about vocabulary. So now let's learn about vocabulary or kosakata in Bahasa Indonesia. You do not need to memorize kosakata for now because it is a bit advanced. But for now, we will learn 4 basics verbs that you will use every day in your Bahasa, exercise. So how do you say eat? Eat is makan. 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 How do you say go? Go is pergi. So as you can see here, we pronounce the R quite clearly. So it is kind of like Spanish. If you guys speak Spanish out there, I think you will notice that Indonesian pronounce the R quite similar to the Spanish language. To the Spanish. So it's pergi. Again, pergi. And how do you say drink in Bahasa? It's minum. 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 And how do you say buy? Buy is membeli. Membeli. Okay, so again, try to repeat it over and over again until you master it and you can pronounce it comfortably. Now, before we move on, let's learn 2 useful expressions. I think learning expression is very important in your language learning, whatever language you are learning, because useful expression is something that you actually can use right away. So you can already say, you can just say it to anyone really when you just want to practice your language. We will learn 2 useful expressions. Number 1 is hello. It's quite similar. It's hello. Hello. Okay, hello. Hello. So the natural way of saying it would be hello. And then we have good morning. It is selamat pagi. Selamat pagi. Selamat pagi. So the natural speed would be selamat pagi. The slow speed would be selamat pagi. Okay, so again, try to practice it, as often as you can so you can master it, as I mentioned multiple times by now. Now, after you have learned a little bit about grammar and you have learned a little bit about vocabulary in Bahasa, it is time for us to create some sample sentences so that you know more and you can create your first sentence in Bahasa. So these are 4 sample sentences that you will learn today. Number 1 is hello, selamat pagi. That's the natural speed, and the slow speed would be hello, selamat pagi. Okay, I hope you already know what this phrase means. Hello is hello, of course, and selamat pagi is good morning. So hello, selamat pagi is hello, good morning. Okay, and then number 2 we have saya pergi. Saya is I and pergi is go. So saya pergi is I go. And I will tell you a good news here. So the good news here, at this point, you do not really need to conjugate the verb. Unlike English, when you say she goes and then you say I go, you need to change the verb. You need to conjugate the verb go into goes if you change the subject from I to she or he or it, right? But fortunately in Bahasa, you do not need that. You just simply use the same verb for any subject pronoun. So for example, again, if you want to say I go, it is saya pergi. If you want to say she goes, it is dia pergi. You go, it is kamu pergi. They go, it is mereka pergi, and so on and so forth. So basically it stays the same. Number 3 is mereka makan. Mereka is they, and then we have makan here, which is eat, and then mereka makan is they eat. The same again, if you want to say she eats, you can just say dia makan, and so on. And the last one is dia minum. Dia is she or he. Of course, when you just say dia, you do not know the gender of the person, so you do not know whether it is a she or it is a he, right? So it will need further elaboration, and it will need the context. I think the context will make it clear. But at this point, dia minum can both mean she drinks or he drinks. Okay? But again, if you want to change it into I drink, you can just say saya minum. So very simple. And by just knowing this simple rule, you can now already make many sentences and practice your bahasa, right? So if you have understood that, now let's test yourself. How do you say we go in bahasa? I will give you some time. We is kami, and go is pergi. So we go is kami pergi. And then you drink. And what about she eats? Okay, so if you know the answer of those two questions, go write down your answer to the comment sections, and we will check, and we will also correct if you are making a mistake. And it's fine to make a mistake. I made a lot of mistake when I learned English for the very first time, and I think now I'm still making mistake, and it's fine, really, right? So don't get discouraged if you still don't understand this lesson. Try to watch it over and over again if you are watching this on YouTube, or try to listen to it over and over again if you are listening to this through podcast. Okay, so that's it, the lesson for today. You can follow us on Instagram at Bahasa Little Project for additional lessons. You can practice your Bahasa and join our community on facebook.com/Bahasa Little Project. You can also find our podcast on Spotify, Google Podcasts, etc. And you can support us on patreon.com/Bahasa Little Project to get exclusive contents. And by exclusive contents, I mean you will be able to receive PDFs, books on more vocabulary of Bahasa, more sample sentences, more conversation, and also you will join our exclusive Telegram group, in which you will be meeting your tutor there. I think you will be meeting me there. And then you can practice your Bahasa, and you can ask whatever question. So that's it for this lesson, and I will see you again in level 1, lesson 2. Bye. Dadah. Hey, welcome back to Bahasa Little Project, and this is your level 1, lesson 2. Last time we have learned about basic grammar, especially about subject pronouns, and also some basic verbs. And this time we will continue that lesson, and we will learn some more and create longer and more complex sentences. By the way, my name is Alit, and I'm your tutor for this Bahasa lessons, and let's get started. Okay, we will start our lesson today by learning the grammar first. We will learn adverb of time. How to say yesterday, how to say today, and how to say tomorrow. Okay, so let's start with yesterday. How do you say yesterday? It is kemarin. Okay, again, repeat after me so that you can pronounce the word correctly. Kemarin. Natural speed, kemarin. Kemarin. Okay, that's yesterday. Now today. Today is hari ini. Hari basically means day, and ini is this. So hari ini is actually day this, or today, this day, right? So again, today is hari ini. Hari ini. Okay, hari ini. And then we have tomorrow, which is besok. 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 Okay? Tomorrow, besok. Yesterday, kemarin. And today, hari ini. So try to repeat it over and over again until you are feeling comfortable saying it and you understand all of it. And if you already do that, and let's now answer this very important question. I think a lot of people are asking this question: do we have tenses in Bahasa? The short answer is no, we don't have it. But the long and complicated answer would be maybe, but not at the basic level. So at this point, you do not need to worry about it. So basically, you want to think at this point again that we don't have tenses in Bahasa. Of course, we will discuss it in more detail in the future, so don't worry about it, okay? So as I mentioned previously, for now, just try to memorize what yesterday, today, and tomorrow are in Bahasa. Okay, now try to answer my question. I will say the English and you answer with the Bahasa without looking or watching your video if you are learning through YouTube right now. Okay, how do you say yesterday? 1, 2, 3. Kemarin, right? How do you say today? Hari ini. How do you say tomorrow? 1, 2, 3. Besok. Okay, good job. If you already mastered that, now we are ready to go on and continue with some vocabulary. So these are the words that we will learn. Quite a few actually. We will learn more verbs this time. So the first is cook or memasak in Bahasa. Memasak. Memasak. Okay, cook is memasak. Study is belajar. 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 Okay, so cook, memasak, study, belajar. And then we have watch, menonton. 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 Okay, again cook, memasak, study, belajar, watch, menonton. And then we have listen, which is quite long, mendengarkan. Mendeng. You can hear the nasal sound there. Deng, kind of sound like French. Mendengarkan. Mendengarkan. And then we have write, which is menulis. Menulis. And then we have talk or berbicara. 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 And then we have see, which is melihat. 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 And then the last one we have bring, which is membawa. 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 Okay, so try to make sure to repeat it over and over again until again you are comfortable saying the word, and try to quiz yourself and test yourself so that you can memorize it well. If you have mastered and memorized all those words, now it's time to learn some useful expression, which is how are you? I think this is very useful when you are meeting your friend, your new friend. In Indonesian, you can say apa kabar. Apa actually means what, and kabar means news. So what news? What news do you bring? Or in this case, it means how are you? Okay, and please don't mind if you hear some barking there. It's my neighbor. So, but going back, so how do you say how are you? It's apa kabar. Okay, apa kabar. That's how you say how are you? Apa kabar. So natural speed would be apa kabar? Apa kabar? Okay. So yeah. So now let's create sample sentences using the grammar and also the verbs and the expression that we have learned just now. So we will learn at this point, we will learn 3 sample sentences. Number 1 is kemarin saya memasak. Kemarin, do you still remember how do you say kemarin? Kemarin is yesterday, right? So that's how you say yesterday in Bahasa. It's kemarin. Kemarin. Okay, saya is, of course, you already know this. You already learned this from your first lesson, which is I, right? Memasak is cook. Alright, so kemarin saya masak. In English it means yesterday I cooked. You see here now again, as I mentioned previously, at the basic level, we don't have tenses in English. So the same thing. So if you want to say let's say I cook every day, it would be just saya masak setiap hari. You do not know what setiap hari means, but basically if you want to know, it means every day. So saya memasak stay the same. No changes, no conjugation, no nothing. So you just change the adverb of time. So kemarin saya masak mean yesterday I cook. Of course in English you need to put extra ed after the word cook, right? But in Indonesian, you do not conjugate the word or the verb at all. So it stays the same. Kemarin saya masak, yesterday I cook, and tomorrow I will cook. You will need to put some word, which translate into will, and that is something that we will learn soon. But for now, make sure you understand what kemarin saya memasak means. Okay, so kemarin, yesterday, saya masak, I cook. And again, to re-emphasize it, we don't have tenses at the basic level. So, saya memasak stay the same whether it is in past, in the present, in the future. There are some changes. Number 2 is hari ini mereka makan. Hari ini is today, of course, right? Hari ini, and mereka is day, and makan is eat. So, today they eat. Hari ini mereka makan. That's the natural speed. The slow speed would be hari ini mereka makan. Okay. Number 3 is dia akan menonton besok. Dia, you already notice it means she or he, right? So dia, she or he, akan. Nah, this is something that I talked about just now. This is how you say will. Okay, this is how you say will in Bahasa. We will of course cover this in more detail, but for now just try to memorize that will is akan in Bahasa. Will is akan. Akan. So akan. So she will, dia akan. I will, saya akan. They will, mereka akan. You will, kamu akan. Okay, so dia akan menonton. She or he will watch, right? Menonton means watch. What is besok? Besok is tomorrow. So dia akan menonton besok mean he or she will watch tomorrow. Yeah, so of course by knowing these sample sentences, now you can create your own sentences and you can practice combining the words that you already learned, and also by using and following the rules of grammar that you have learned. So now it's time for us to test yourself. So how do you say yesterday she wrote? Yesterday is, of course, it is kemarin, right? And she is dia, he also dia, and wrote is menulis. Of course, I hope you remember that you do not need to conjugate the verb into past tense or into future tense. The verbs stay the same. So, yesterday she wrote, kemarin dia menulis, blah blah blah. Okay? So, for number 2 and number 3, try to do it by yourself based upon what you have learned, and try to write down the answer in the comment section if you are watching this on YouTube. So, if you have mistakes, we will be able to see it and we will be able to correct it. And also, if you have any questions about Bahasa, feel free to ask in the comments below, or you can email us also to bahasalittleproject@gmail.com, or you can follow us on Instagram at Bahasa Little Project for additional lessons. You can practice your Bahasa on our Facebook group. You can find our podcast on Spotify. I hope it is already now on Google Podcasts. And also you can support us on patreon.com/Bahasa Little Project to get exclusive contents and to join our exclusive Telegram group, in which you would be able to ask me and practice with me if you have any questions. So thank you for learning with us. So that is your level 1 lesson 2. I hope you have learned something, and see you next time. We will learn much more at level 1 lesson 3. Bye. Dadah. Hey, welcome to Bahasa Little Project, and this is your level 1 lesson 3. So far you have learned some Indonesian, of course, from the previous level 1 lesson 1 and level 1 lesson 2. I hope that you have practiced your Bahasa and have used it in your daily life, so that you are getting more and more comfortable using your new language. Okay, so for this lesson we will learn some more grammar and we will learn some more vocabulary to keep improving the level of your Bahasa, and also to keep making your sentences longer and also more complicated. If you are ready, let's get started. Number 1, we will learn about adverb of place. Last time in the level 1 lesson 2 we learned about adverb of time, right? And this time we will learn about adverb of place. Number 1 is how to say at. In Bahasa it is di. It is also as simple as at, I think, right? So in English it is at, and then in Bahasa it is di. Di. Okay, and then number 2 is in. It is kind of longer in Bahasa. It is di dalam, but it has the same first word, which is di. So in is di dalam, okay? And on, what about on? On is di atas, okay? So again, at is di, in is di dalam, and on is di atas, okay? So those are the adverb of place that we will learn today in this lesson. And we will also learn useful expression. I think again this expression will be very useful for you in your daily usage of the language. So how do you say thank you? It is terima kasih. Okay? Terima kasih. Terima means actually accept or receive, and kasih means care or love. So you are receiving or accepting love from somebody else, and that's why you are saying thank you, right? So again, thank you is terima kasih. The natural speed would be terima kasih, and that's with the accent terima kasih. But the slow version would be terima kasih. Okay, number 2 is sorry. And I think again this is very useful when you're making mistake, or when you are late, for example, to your office or whatever, to your meeting, and then you need to say sorry. Sorry is maaf. Okay, sorry is maaf. And then very simple but very meaningful expression is how do you say yes? Yes is ya. Okay, so that's how you say yes. It's very simple. It's kind of similar also. Yes is ya, and then no is tidak. Okay, so we have learned how do you say how to say thank you. It is terima kasih, and then sorry, maaf, and then we have also learned about how do we say yes in Bahasa, which is ja, similar to German, I believe, right? Ja. And then also how do we say no in Bahasa, which is tidak. Okay, so those are the useful expressions that we learned today, and also we also have learned di dalam, and di atas for adverb of place. Okay, so it's time now to learn some new vocabulary. So these are the vocabulary that we will learn today, which are noun basically. Number 1 is school, is sekolah. Okay, school is sekolah. And then we have home, which is rumah. Okay, And then we have hospital, which is rumah sakit. Rumah again is home or house, and sakit means sick. Okay, so the house of sick, the house of sickness perhaps. So that's hospital in Bahasa. Rumah sakit. Okay, rumah is house or home, and then sakit is sick or being ill. And then we have park, which is taman. 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 We have toilet, which is the same thing, this toilet. So if you are in emergency at the hospital or in Indonesia or at the airport or anywhere, and you need to go to the toilet, you can just say, toilet please, toilet, and people will understand you. Okay, and then restaurant is also kind of similar. I think this is originated from English and then absorbed into Bahasa. So restaurant is restoran. Restoran. Okay, restoran. Restoran. And then we have police station, which is kantor polisi. I think kantor is a word originated from the Dutch, from the Netherlands language, right? Yeah, because Indonesia has a very long relationship and history with the Netherlands, so that's why we have several Dutch language, right? I'm trying to remember if that's the correct word. So yeah, basically the Dutch language, and then we have policy. So kantor polisi means police station. I hope that when you travel to Indonesia, you will not need to go to kantor polisi or a police station. But if you need to, then that's how you say it. So again, police station is kantor polisi. Okay, so we have learned 7 nouns here. We have learned sekolah, rumah, rumah sakit, taman, toilet, restoran, dan sorry, I just use the and of in Bahasa, which is done. Okay, and then the last one is kantor polisi. So please try to always repeat it after I've said it, or just try to practice it by yourself. I will now say it again so that you can practice it again. So again, sekolah is, or school is school is sekolah, and home is rumah, hospital is rumah sakit, park is taman, toilet is the same, toilet, restaurant is restoran, and police station is kantor polisi. Good job. Okay, again, practice it again and again if you are still not comfortable saying it, until you feel comfortable saying it. And if you are already comfortable, now let's create some sample sentences. So you can create and build sample sentences or your own sentences using the grammar that you have learned and the vocabulary. Okay, so we will learn 3 sample sentences today. So kemarin, if you do not know what kemarin means, then it means you have to check out the previous lessons, because we have covered this in the previous lessons. Okay, so kemarin saya memasak di rumah. So you have learned the new words here, which is di rumah, right? So di is at or in, right? So here is at home, obviously. So kemarin is yesterday saya memasak, I cook at home, right? And hari ini, today, mereka, they, makan, eat di restoran, at restaurant. Today they eat at restaurant. And then number 3, ya is yes, of course. Dia, she or he will, akan, you also have learned akan. That's the future tense in, I think in lesson 2 you have learned akan. So dia akan belajar besok di sekolah. She will learn or study, belajar, learn or study tomorrow at school. Okay, so you are of course you of course can create your own sentences based upon the grammar that you have learned in the 3 lessons that you have studied with, and also with the vocabulary that you have mastered and you have learned. So now let's test yourself. Okay, So number one is yesterday she wrote blah blah blah. She wrote something at school. How do you say it? 1, 2, 3. Of course, yesterday is kemarin, and she wrote. We have discussed about past tense, present tense, future tense, right? In the lesson 2. So obviously you know that it is dia menulis, and at school is something that we have just learned just now is di sekolah. Di sekolah. For number 2 and number 3, try to do it by yourself. If you want, so number 2 is today he watched blah 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 at home. How do you say it in Indonesian? And also number 3 is yes, we will talk at police station. Yes, we will talk at police station. How do you say it in Bahasa? If you are watching this on YouTube, try to make sure to write the answer, your answer, at the comments below, so we can check and we can correct if you are making a mistake. Okay, and if you are listening to this lesson at podcast, you can check out the YouTube, so you can also see the transcript of the words, the grammars, and the vocabulary, the sample sentences that we are using here. Okay, so that's the end. That's the end of our lesson today. Remember, you can follow us on Instagram at Bahasa Little Project for additional lessons. You can practice your Bahasa on our Facebook group and Facebook page, and you can also find our podcast on Spotify, and especially you can support us on patreon.com/Bahasa Little Project to get exclusive contents if you would like to learn more, and also you will be able to join exclusive Telegram groups if you support us on Patreon. Okay, so I hope this is useful for you. Try to practice your Bahasa, as often as possible with friends, with your family members, or with us. And I will see you again at level 1 lesson 4 very soon. Hey, welcome to Bahasa Little Project, and this is your level 1 lesson 4. Last time we have learned some verbs as well as some nouns. We have learned subjects, and we have learned the adverb of time as well as the adverb of place in Bahasa Indonesia. If you haven't checked it out, if you haven't listened or watched to those lessons, I really recommend you to do that before you continue with this lesson. Okay, and if you have, now it's the perfect time to improve your Bahasa and continue learning and continue your journey of learning Bahasa Indonesia, okay? So let's start our lesson today by learning grammar. And we will start this lesson by learning how to create negative sentences. So to create negative sentences in Bahasa Indonesia, it is relatively simple because do not, does not, did not, or will not, all of them equal to tidak. Okay, so again, do not, does not, did not, will not, all of them mean tidak in Bahasa. Tidak. Okay, repeat after me. Tidak. Tidak. Okay, so we will use this tidak to say no, and we will create sample sentences, of course, using the new word that we have learned. And as you just learned, this word is very versatile because you can use it to mean do not, does not, did not, and will not. Okay, but before we move on, we will first of all learn 3 useful expressions. I think, again, as I mentioned this over and over again in every lessons that we have, useful expression is something that is important because you will be able to use this expression in your daily, activities. So we will start by learning how to say excuse me in Bahasa. To say excuse me in Bahasa, you simply just need to say permisi. Okay? How do you say it again? Permisi. Permisi. Okay? So that's how you say excuse me. Permisi. And then, how do you say good afternoon? We have learned good morning in the previous lesson. I think it was in lesson number 1. And here we will learn how to say good afternoon, which is selamat sore. You have learned the selamat part in selamat pagi, right? And this is the good afternoon version, which is selamat sore. So afternoon is sore in Bahasa. So again, good afternoon is selamat sore. And then we have good evening, which is selamat malam. Okay, so evening is malam, so selamat malam or good evening. good evening is selamat malam. Okay, so we have learned 3 useful expressions. Number 1 is permisi or excuse me, and then we have learned selamat sore or good afternoon and selamat malam or good evening. Okay, so those are the useful expressions that we will cover, and also we will learn how to create sample sentences using the useful expression. Okay, alright, so now let's learn vocabulary first. So we will learn more nouns because previously in lesson number 3 we have learned several nouns, but I think now it is important for you to know more nouns in order to create a more complicated sentence. Okay, so beside learning more nouns, we will also learn how to say or an in Bahasa. It is quite simple because there is no differentiation between or an in Bahasa. So basically, if you want to say or an, you can just say sebuah. Okay, how do you say it again? Sebuah. 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 Okay, so a book is sebuah buku. So obviously, book is buku. It sounds quite similar, right? So again, a book is sebuah buku. A pen is sebuah pen. An apple, an here, but again in Indonesia, you just use the same word, which is sebuah, and then apple, which is apel. Again, relatively similar. Sebuah apel. Sebuah apel. That's the normal, the normal speed. Sebuah apel. A car is sebuah mobil. So car is mobil. Mobil. Okay. And then a TV is sebuah TV. It's the same as in English. TV is TV in Bahasa. And an artist is seorang artis. So now you are learning something else. So for things or stuff, for inanimated object, you need to say sebuah. Okay? But for people, if you want to say a person, an artist, an actor, a doctor, you cannot say sebuah, but you need to change that into seorang. Okay? Seorang. So remember that we don't have a or an in Bahasa Indonesia, but we do have different different article for stuff or thing, which is sebuah, and for animated object or for person, which is seorang. Again, an artist is seorang artis. Artist has the same word, very similar, artist, and then we also have actor, which is actor. Okay, actor. So you cannot say actor, but actor. So again, an actor is seorang aktor. Okay, always try to repeat your new vocabulary over and over again. It is very important so that you can master it and you can use it in your daily life when you are practicing your Bahasa. Okay, so those are the new vocabulary that we have learned today. And now let's create sample sentences. Sample sentence number 1 is kemarin mereka tidak menulis sebuah buku di sekolah. Now, this is already complicated, of course, and it's quite long. So you need to really make sure that you have mastered the previous lessons that you have learned. Because if you haven't, then this is going to be very, very hard. But if you have followed all the lessons in the previous lesson thoroughly, and you have mastered all of those, these sample sentences are quite easy. So kemarin is, of course, yesterday. Mereka is they. Tidak is a grammar word that we have learned just now, which mean tidak, which mean no, right? Did not here. Menulis is write. Sebuah is and buku is book, and di sekolah is at school. So kemarin mereka tidak menulis sebuah buku di sekolah is yesterday they did not write a book at school. So normal speed would be kemarin mereka tidak menulis sebuah buku di sekolah. That's maybe quite fast. Maybe a little bit too fast. So normal again, normal. Kemarin mereka tidak menulis sebuah buku di sekolah. Okay? So that's our sample sentence number 1, and then sample sentence number 2 is tidak. Hari ini mereka tidak membeli sebuah pen di sekolah. Now you have to differentiate between the first tidak and the second tidak. Okay? Because tidak number 1 here means no. Not, do not, did not, will not, does not, or do not, right? You also have learned the first tidak in the previous lessons when we learn about a useful expression. No is tidak and yes is ya, right? If you haven't, again, go check out the previous lesson. So here tidak means no, hari ini is today, mereka is they, tidak membeli, of course did not again because this action has happened in the past. Sebuah pen is a pen, di sekolah again at school. So here tidak, hari ini mereka tidak membeli sebuah pen di sekolah mean no, today they did not buy a pen at school. Okay? Number 3, our last sample sentence is maaf, besok dia tidak akan menonton TV di rumah. Again, you have learned this expression, maaf, very useful, which means sorry, of course. Good job for remembering that. And besok is tomorrow, dia, he or she, tidak akan, will not, of course, right? So, tidak akan, this is something rather different. So, for did not, you do not need to add anything. You can just use did. You can just use tidak, and also for do not and does not is the same thing. But for will not, you need to add the extra akan, the extra will that we have covered previously. Akan mean will, so will not is tidak akan, which literally translated into not will, but in Indonesian it is that way. Okay, so will not is tidak akan, not will. Okay, so you know the different way of saying thing, obviously. So again, maaf is sorry. Besok dia tidak akan. Tomorrow he or she will not, or not will in English, but in Indonesian not will, right? Tidak akan menonton, watch TV at home. Okay, so I think that's pretty clear by now. Now let's test yourself. I think it's very important now to test yourself. Number 1 is, how do you say tidak? Yesterday she did not see an artist at school. Number 1 is tidak is of course no, and then yesterday, kemarin, she did not see an artist at school. Dia tidak melihat seorang artis di sekolah. Okay, so for number 2 and number 3, try to test yourself and answer the 2 questions and write down the questions. Write down the answer. Your answer in the comment section below if you are watching this lesson on YouTube. And if you are not watching this on YouTube, for example, if you are listening to this on Spotify or something, then go ahead, find it on YouTube. The channel is the same, Bahasa Little Project, so you can see the question here and you can also participate in answering the question. And we will check your answer and we will give you some correction if your answer is actually incorrect. Okay, so that's for our lesson number 4. Remember to follow us on Instagram at Bahasa Little Project for additional lessons. You can practice your Bahasa also by joining our Facebook page. You can find our podcast on Spotify if you haven't already. And the last one, this is quite important. Support us on patreon.com/Bahasa Little Project to get exclusive contents and exclusive Telegram group. Okay, so I hope this lesson is useful for you. Remember to always practice your Bahasa out there and use it with friends, with your new friend, with your new boyfriend or girlfriend from Indonesia, so that you will soon master the language. Okay, so my name is Alit, and that's the end of our lesson number 4. We will see you again at level 1, lesson 5. Bye! Welcome to Bahasa Little Project, and this is your level 1, lesson 5. Good job for those of you who have completed until lesson 5. I think if you have done your job, you now are able to create sample and simple sentences, right? I keep saying sample sentences. So now you are able to create positive sentences and negative sentences. You also now some grammar and also some vocabulary of Bahasa Indonesia. I think now you are excited. I hope you are excited. You are excited to learn more about Bahasa Indonesia, and here we go. We will start our lesson today by learning some grammar. And this grammar is obviously very, very important because in this part we will learn how to ask questions in Bahasa. Of course, when you're speaking, when you have conversation with your friend, you will not only answer the question, right, but sometimes to make the conversation going nicely, two sides, you need to also ask question. And to ask question in Bahasa Indonesia, it is very simple. You just simply need to use apakah. Okay, so apakah can be used in present tense, in past tense, as well as in future tense. Okay, so again, how do you ask in Bahasa? You just need to use apakah at the beginning of your sentence. Apakah, okay? Apakah at the beginning of your sentence. So we will of course learn more about apakah, how to create sentence using apakah. But before that, let's learn one useful expression of the day, which is da or bye. Maybe some of you have noticed me saying da at the end of the lessons. I think it was in lesson number 1 and lesson number 2 or something like that. But basically da means bye. Bye. So bye in Bahasa is da. So if you are going away or if you are ending the meeting with your friend or something like that, you can just simply say da, see you tomorrow, da, bye. Okay, so da, so with prolonged a, da, with prolonged a then here, right? Da. Okay, da. So, okay, so practice that so you have now another useful expression that you can use daily. Okay, now move on. We will learn now how to use apakah, and also we will learn some vocabulary. So this is the vocabulary that we will learn today. This looks quite long, but it is actually very simple. So besides, not only in addition to learning new nouns, we will also learn how to say with a, okay, with a friend, with an actor, with a nurse, with a teacher, with a police officer, whatever. So to say with a, you can just say dengan. So dengan means with, okay? So with is dengan, and you already learned seorang, which is a or an for people. And if you forget that, go back and review again. And watch again our previous lesson so you remember that again. Okay, so going back into what I was saying, so with is dengan, so seorang or seorang is a or an. So with a friend is dengan seorang teman. So here you learn new noun which is teman. Teman means friend. Okay, teman is friend, so with a friend dengan seorang teman. Okay, number 2 is police officer. Police officer is polisi, just simply polisi. Okay, so if you want to say with a police officer, you can just say dengan seorang polisi. And then actor, I think we have learned about this, is aktor. So with an actor is dengan seorang actor. So please be careful there because I think there is a typo there. If you are now watching this on YouTube, the seorang, just make sure that you understand it's typo. It's a typo. Okay. So again, with an actor is dengan seorang aktor. Okay. And next is nurse. Nurse is perawat. Perawat. Okay. So with a nurse is dengan seorang perawat. Dengan seorang perawat. Okay, that's the natural speed, the normal speed. And then doctor is dokter. Remember in Bahasa, we have covered this in previous lesson. You need to pronounce the R. Okay, so dokter. not doctor or something like that, but dokter. Okay, so with a doctor is dengan seorang dokter. Okay, so next we have teacher. Teacher is guru. I think this word is originated from Sanskrit. Maybe, I'm not really sure, but I think it is already in an English word now, guru, like especially yoga guru or something. But in Indonesian, teacher is also a guru. So with a teacher is dengan seorang guru. Okay? And then last one we have artist. I think we have also covered this in previous lesson. So with an artist is dengan seorang artis. Okay, so after we cover that, it is very important for you to keep repeating the new words that you have just learned so that you can be comfortable using it and you can be comfortable when you are actually using the word in your daily conversation, in your daily life. So please try to make sure that you have you spare some time to actually say the words, the new words over and over again. Okay, so now if you are ready with the new words that you have learned and also with the new grammar that you have learned just now on how to ask question, now let's try to create sample sentences. So the question number one, no, the sample sentence number one is, maaf, apakah kemarin mereka menulis sebuah buku di sekolah dengan seorang guru? That's the fast version. And the slow version would be, maaf. You of course already learned what maaf means. If you again forget it, it's a good idea to review it again. But maaf, of course, mean sorry, right? So maaf means sorry. So apakah? Here we go. You put the apakah, the question word at the beginning of your question. So sorry, did. You see, did, yesterday, day. So apakah is do, does, did, or will. And then kemarin of course is yesterday, mereka is they, write, menulis is write. You already learned that. Sebuah buku is a book, di sekolah is at school, and dengan seorang guru is something that you have just learned, which is with a teacher. So maaf, sorry, apakah kemarin mereka menulis, did yesterday they write a book at school with a teacher. Okay, so the most important thing here, you know how to form a question, interrogative question, an interrogative sentence, a question by using the word apakah. So basically, you just need to put the apakah at the beginning of your sentence, and that's it. You already form a sentence. Of course, when you are saying the sentence, you need to raise your intonation at the end so it sounds like a question. So for example again, maaf, apakah kemarin mereka menulis sebuah buku di sekolah dengan seorang guru? Oh, the normal version would be, apakah kemarin mereka menulis sebuah buku di sekolah dengan seorang guru? So practice it. Practice makes better. So keep practicing it until you can, you can say it comfortably. Number two is, apakah hari ini dia makan di restoran dengan seorang teman? This is also very simple if you have mastered all the words that we have learned in previous lessons. Apakah means do, does, did, or will, right? And so here, apakah hari ini dia makan di restoran? It would mean, did he today, or did today he eat at restaurant with a friend? So apakah again, do, does, did, or will. In this case it is a did because it is an action in the past, and hari ini is today, dia, she or he, right? Makan is it, di restoran is at restaurant, and dengan seorang teman with a friend. Okay, so apakah hari ini dia makan di restoran dengan seorang teman? Remember to raise your intonation at the end. Apakah hari ini dia makan di restoran dengan seorang teman? Okay, number three is apakah besok? Apakah besok? Of course, again, apakah is the question word here, and besok is tomorrow. So now you are creating the sentence in future tense. Apakah besok dia tidak akan? So here you are saying, apakah will tomorrow she not go? So not watch TV at home. So this is a little bit complicated because you are also not only using the interrogative form, but also you are using the negative form, which is tidak, right? Tidak means not. So basically you are saying that won he, okay, won he. So I think by now you realize that you can put the adverb of time, which is here besok or hari ini or kemarin, anywhere you want really. Basically you can put it at the very front, you can put it at the middle of your sentence, and or you can also put it at the end of your sentence. So you can say apakah dia tidak akan menonton TV di rumah besok, or besok apakah dia tidak akan menonton TV di rumah, or just like the sentence you say apakah besok dia tidak akan menonton TV di rumah. Okay, by putting besok or the word for tomorrow at the middle, maybe it seems it makes the sentence more complicated, but it is actually no, not really. But for now, try to just imagine if we just put besok at the end of your sentence. So it just to make it easier to understand. So apakah dia tidak akan menonton TV di rumah besok? So if you put it that way, it would I think it would be much clearer to you that apakah dia tidak akan would just simply won't he watch TV at home tomorrow. Okay, so again, number 3, the sample sentence number 3 is quite complicated because again you are not only just using question word there, but you are also using negative word, which is tidak. Okay, so it become will not or won't he or she watch TV at home tomorrow, or in this sentence literally won't tomorrow he or she watch TV at home. Okay, I hope it is clear enough for you, and if it is not clear, please let us know. You can comment below if you are watching this on YouTube, and if you are listening this through podcast, go ahead to the YouTube version so you can also let us know if it is still unclear so we can give you further explanation. Okay, all right, so those are the sample sentences that we will cover here, and now let's move on to test yourself. Number 1 is, did she see an artist at school yesterday? How do you say it? Of course, did is apakah. Apakah again can mean do, does, did, or will. So you can just simply say apakah here, and see is dia. Si is melihat an artist, is seorang artis at school, is di sekolah. Yesterday is kemarin. So did she see an artist at school yesterday? Apakah dia melihat seorang artis di sekolah kemarin? Right? So yeah, for number 2 and number 3, try to do it by yourself. Number 2 is, did you talk with a police officer today? And number 3 is, won't he drink with a friend at a restaurant tomorrow? Quite similar to the sample sentence, so that you can exercise and practice more and really understand better about the concept. Okay, so again, try to answer the 2 questions and write it down on the comment sections below so we can check it and we can correct it if you are making a mistake. So that's for today. Remember, you can follow us on Instagram at Bahasa Little Project for additional lessons. You can practice your Bahasa and join our Facebook page. You can find our podcast on Spotify, and also you can support us on Patreon/Bahasa Little Project to get exclusive contents and exclusive Telegram group. Please make sure to ask whatever question you have about Bahasa if there's something that is unclear in the video or in the podcast that you are listening to, so that we can give you some further explanation and to make your journey of learning Bahasa smooth. Okay, so I hope this is helpful for you, and I will see you again in level 1 lesson 6 soon. Hey, welcome to Bahasa Little Project. This is your level 1 lesson 6. Okay, so welcome back to those of you who have learned with us since level 1 lessons 1. And for those of you who haven't, and you haven't watched the video from our first lesson, or if you haven't listened to the audio, if you are listening this maybe on Spotify, you maybe want to check our previous lesson first before continuing to this lesson, because obviously you want to build your understanding of Bahasa from the ground up, right? So go ahead, if you haven't watched or listened to our previous lessons, go check it out first before you continue to these lessons. And for those who have studied the previous lessons, now it's time for us to learn more. So far, we have learned some grammar, some vocabulary, some phrases, and some other stuff. And now, again, we will continue to learn some more advanced grammar, vocabulary, and phrases to help you improve your understanding of Bahasa Indonesia. Okay, so before we move on, it is important for me to say that Bahasa Little Project is a project done by Xspace Bali. So if you want to, let's say, buy lesson notes or books, or if you want to contact us for private lessons, you can email us at xspacebali@gmail.com. And also, we would like to thanks our very generous donor who have supported us by donating to paypal.me/xspacebali. And for those of you out there who want to support us, you are also very welcome to donate any amount to paypal.me/xspacebali. Okay, so now let's just move on into our lesson 6. In our previous lessons, we have learned about past tense, a little bit about future tense. Now it's the time for us to learn more and improve our understanding of present tense. Okay, if you remember, in previous lessons, we have told you that we don't really have a strict grammar in Bahasa, but we do have some part of grammar. Okay, and today we will learn about present tense. Okay, what you do habitually, every day, always, or usually. Okay, let's start by learning how to say eat or makan. Obviously, you have learned this word in previous lesson. If you haven't, or if you forgot about these words, go ahead and review and watch some of the previous lessons so you can review again how to say makan properly, how to say eat properly in Bahasa. But basically, to eat is makan. Okay? Repeat after me. Makan. Okay? Makan. So, I eat is saya makan. Okay? Saya makan. Okay? Saya makan. You also want to remember your pronoun. We have learned about this in our previous lessons. If you forgot about it again, you can review. Okay? You can learn back from our previous lesson. So there you go. I eat again is saya makan. You eat is kamu makan. Okay, and what about they eat? Mereka makan. Remember to pronounce the R clearly. Mereka. Okay, re. Mereka makan. Okay, we eat is kami makan. What about she eats and he eats? Remember, we don't differentiate she and he in Bahasa. We have explained about this in our previous lesson. So she eats and he eats is dia makan. Okay, so practice that. I think this phrase is very important and can be very useful in your daily conversation. Saya makan, kamu makan, mereka makan, kami makan, dia makan, and stuff like that, right? Because eating obviously is very important for our existence. So there you go, makan. Okay, you are now combining your pronoun with the word or the verb eat. Now let's learn about some adverb of time. As you can see in the video, if you are listening to this lesson on Spotify, you maybe also want to check out our channel on YouTube so you can see the spelling of the word and you can take some notes. Okay, so now we will learn how to say every day. Every day is setiap hari. Okay, let's repeat it again slower. Setiap hari. Again, you want to pronounce the word R clearly. Setiap hari. Okay. Now what about always? Selalu. Okay, selalu. Okay, the normal version would be selalu. Selalu. Okay. The normal speed for every day would be setiap hari. Okay, setiap hari. And the last one would be usually. Usually is biasanya. Biasanya. Okay? Again, the normal speed would be biasanya. Now, what you can do, you can combine the phrase that we have learned just now with the adverb of time. For example, if you want to say, I eat every day, how would you say that in Bahasa? I will give you a couple of seconds. I eat every day would be saya makan setiap hari. Or the normal speed would be saya makan setiap hari. Now let's move on to how do you say they eat every day? They is mereka, right? So mereka makan setiap hari. Okay? One more time, slower. Mereka makan setiap hari. So again, you want to pronounce the letter R clearly. Mereka, not mereka, but mereka makan setiap hari. Okay? And now you will realize that you can, just like in English, you can put your adverb of time at the end of your sentence, in the beginning of your sentence, or in the middle of your sentence. For example, now, how do you say, we usually eat? Kami biasanya makan. Okay? Kami biasanya makan. What about dia? Or in English, he always eats. Dia selalu makan. Okay? So there you go. You now know how to put adverb of time in your sentences, and you can also already create simple sentences now. Okay? So practice that, and after you have mastered that, we will now move on. Okay, so now we will learn some vocabulary. We will learn direction. Okay, vocabulary regarding directions in Bahasa. So the first one is we will learn how to say to school. To school is ke sekolah. So if you want to say to, and then you have a place, okay, after that, you need the word ke. Okay, ke. Repeat up to me, ke. Ke. So again, number one, to school is ke sekolah. So obviously school is sekolah. I think we have learned this in our previous lesson. And number two is to home. To home is ke rumah. Ke rumah. Number three is to office. Ke kantor. Ke kantor. Ke kantor. And then to airport is ke bandara. Ke bandara. And to market is ke pasar. Ke pasar. To class is ke kelas. And last but not least is to toilet is ke toilet. Okay, so practice that learn to pronounce learns to pronounce the words correctly so that you can use it. Okay? Ke sekolah, ke rumah, ke kantor, ke bandara, ke pasar, ke kelas, ke toilet. Now let's move on. So now we will create sample sentences using what we have learned. Okay? We have learned how to say yes, which is iya, right? And we have learned all of this in our previous lesson. So again, if you don't remember this, go back and study our previous lessons. So number one is this sample sentence. Number one is iya, mereka selalu pergi ke sekolah dengan seorang guru. Okay, you need to first be able to know the meaning of the sentence. You obviously know iya, right? Iya is yes. So iya, yes. Mereka selalu pergi ke sekolah. That would mean what? They always go to school dengan with seorang guru, with a teacher. Okay? Now number two, can anybody tell me? Obviously I cannot listen to you. Oh, I cannot hear you. But you can just say it. Can you tell me the meaning of the sentence number two? Anyone? Okay, good job. I hope that you already know the meaning of the sentence number two because we have learned all the words in our previous lesson. Okay, before we translate the sentence, let's now pronounce the sentence first. Dia biasanya tidak pergi ke restoran dengan seorang teman. The normal speed would be dia biasanya tidak pergi ke restoran dengan seorang teman. He or she usually doesn't go to restaurant with a friend. Okay, and sentence number three. Apakah dia menonton TV di rumah setiap hari? Okay, does he or she watch TV at home every day? Okay, so you want to practice that so you can sound naturally when you are speaking or when you are saying these sentences. Because if you can, you already can use these simple and sample sentences in your daily conversation. Okay? So now is the time to test yourself. Okay, now you can write the answer of this question in the comment box, yeah, below this video. Or if you are listening to this on Spotify, you can go to YouTube and write the answer to this question so we can correct you if you are making any mistake. Okay, question number one is, how do you say, does he always see an artist at school? Does he always see an artist at school? Number two is, they usually do not buy book. And number three is, I do not study at home every day. There is obviously a typo here, so let me... No, I cannot. But yeah, I believe you understand and you know that you need a space in between every and day, right? But obviously doesn't matter because this is not an English lesson. But yeah, go ahead and try to answer these questions. Okay, translate these sentences into Bahasa and post your answer to the comment section below so we can know your answer and we can correct your answer. Okay, so that's for today. We have learned a lot. So again, email us at xspacebali@gmail.com to buy lesson notes, books, or for private lessons. You can also support us by donating any amount to PayPal. You can follow us on Instagram or Facebook at Bahasa Little Project for additional lessons, and also you can find our podcast on Spotify. Okay, so I hope that you have learned something or a lot from these lessons, and I will see you in our next lesson. Hey, welcome to Bahasa Little Project. This is your level 1 lesson 7. Okay, so again, welcome back to those of you who have learned from us since our first lessons. And if you haven't, you want to check out our playlist on our channel or on Spotify because you need to learn from our first lesson before moving on. Okay? So we will now continue our lesson and learn more grammar, okay, more words, more vocabulary, and also more sentences. As always, Bahasa Little Project is brought to you by Xspace Bali. You can email us at xspacebali at gmail.com to buy lesson notes, books, or for private lessons. And you can also support us by donating any amount to paypal.me/xspacebali. We are always very grateful to our generous donors who have donated and supported us. You can also follow us on Instagram and find our podcast on Spotify. Okay, let's move on now and learn some more grammar. And this time we will learn past tense. Last time in our lesson 6, we learned the present tense form of I eat, which is saya makan. Now let's learn the past tense form, which is saya makan also. So yeah, so this is just an example, a good example to show you that we don't really have a strict grammar in Bahasa. So for present and past, in this case, it's the same two words, saya makan, for I eat and I ate. So there you go. The present tense of I eat in Bahasa is saya makan, and also the past tense form of I ate in Bahasa is also saya makan. So it's the same thing, okay? So basically you can use saya makan, kami makan, kamu makan, mereka makan, something that we have learned in our previous lessons, both in present form and also in past form, okay? So there is nothing left there to learn because it's exactly the same. Now let's move on and learn some more adverb of time. So last time we learned about the adverb of time for present tense, like every day, usually, and always. Now let's learn adverb of time for past tense, such as last week, last month, and last year. So last in Bahasa is lalu. Well, that's the rough translation. Okay, so basically, if you want to say last week is minggu lalu. So week is minggu. Okay, one more time. Minggu lalu. Okay, minggu lalu. That's the normal speed for last week. Minggu lalu. Now, last month is bulan lalu. Okay, so man is bulan in Bahasa. And this is something extra for you, some extra lesson. Bulan can also mean the moon, like the moon on the sky. Okay, so bulan can mean two things: man, as in last month, and also the moon. Okay, the moon in the sky. So again, last month is bulan lalu. Okay, bulan lalu. And last year is tahun lalu. One more time slower. Tahun lalu. Okay, tahun lalu. This is also a very interesting note for you guys. We usually do not really pronounce the letter H. So we do not really pronounce it as tahun, but tahun. Okay, one more time. Tahun. Tahun lalu. Okay, so there you go. Okay, so now the next step is you can combine the phrase saya makan, kamu makan, and your new vocab adverb of time for past tense. Okay, so how do you say We ate last month. How do you say it in Bahasa? Kami makan bulan lalu. Or the normal speed would be kami makan bulan lalu. Okay, move on. How do you say you ate last year? Kamu makan tahun lalu. Okay? Kamu makan tahun lalu. The normal speed would be kamu makan tahun lalu. Okay? So you can practice that. Try to combine your sentence and try to put your adverb of time also. Okay? So if you have done that, good job. Now it's time for us to move on. We will now learn some more vocabularies. And this time we will learn some cool vocabularies in connection with question. Okay? How do you make better or cooler questions, or more complete question, or more complicated questions? So first we will learn how to say when. When is kapan. Okay, slower. Kapan. Kapan. Okay, kapan. Where is di mana. Di mana. Di mana. Oh, that's the accent if you want to learn it. Di mana. Kapan. Okay. And who is siapa. 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 And why is mengapa. 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 Or we have the informal equivalent in Bahasa, which is kok. K-O-K. We will learn about it in the future, I believe. But for now, you can stick with mengapa. Okay? So one more time. How do you say why? Mengapa. Okay? How do you say what? What is apa? Very simple. Apa. 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 If you are, when you are angry, maybe at some point. Apa. And then, last but not least is how. This is quite long. Bagaimana. Bagaimana. Okay, the normal speed would be bagaimana, bagaimana. So, it is not bagai when you saying it quickly. It's bagai. Bagaimana. Okay? So yeah, practice that. Practice saying kapan, di mana, siapa, mengapa, apa, bagaimana. As natural as possible. And now we will also learn a very useful expression. Oh, there's a typo again here with useful. I believe you're English expert out there will notice that. So we will learn a useful expression of please. This is very important, right? Please do this, please do that. In Bahasa, if you want to say please, you just say tolong. 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 It's like too long, but, well, not really, but it's kind of like too long. So it's tolong. Tolong. So, please go. Tolong pergi.